Hello everyone, my name is Zenitsu and I'm back with another video. So today is actually going to be a channel update. I haven't done one in quite a while and I think it's about time to do one. And it's not the channel update that I was hoping to do. I was hoping to do a channel update once I reached 5,000 subscribers. Obviously, I'm not there yet as of the recording of this video. I don't know if I'll actually get there anytime post this video. But regardless, I'm just going to come out and say that I am going to be taking a break from YouTube. And not necessarily just YouTube, kind of from Digimon also. And I mean, I'm still going to play at locals. I'm still going to casually follow the game. But in terms of trying to be a more active participant, I just have not been agreeing with the direction that Digimon and Bandai has decided to take the game. And more power to those who are actually enjoying the current state of Digimon. But I, for one, through a lot of soul searching, realized that it's not necessarily my fault that I can't find a deck that I'm particularly enjoying, and everything I've tried literally hasn't worked, and it got me thinking, what if it's not any particular deck, but the current state and direction of the game? So that's probably what's leading me to take this big break and pause, is because I don't agree. I don't agree with the fact that decks are being way faster and way more consistent, and interaction has been going down, skill expression has been going down, deck building has become more boring for the most part, and new cards that they're releasing isn't necessarily competing with the same few broken decks we've been playing for the past year and a half, at least at this point. And it doesn't paint the game in a good light. So that's part of the big reason why I'm taking the step back, is because I just think that Bandai doesn't know how to run and manage Digimon, and based on some of their decisions and designs, they very much clearly don't know what they're doing. And this is a very important year for Digimon because there's a lot of Digimon activity going on in this year. And I feel like, as of right now, they've just been squandering and wasting the opportunities that they have created for themselves. And they're literally just doing the bare minimum. And that's very clearly not good enough for me. But the alternative is what? Nothing? And, I would rather have something than nothing. And that sentiment kind of got old really quickly. And if anyone's looked at the competitive season this year, it's been absolutely awful. It's probably the worst competitive season that Bandai has set up for us. Not only just event-wise, considering there was a dramatic reduction of events, event attendance has been slightly declining, on top of the fact that prizing started off pretty okay and then dried up and became complete dog water really quickly. Promos are still an issue. There's still a lot of issues with the game. This is not even talking about the meta and where the power of decks are and deck design is, because that's a whole separate issue. And I just have not been enjoying the game for quite a while. As anyone is with my content or channel should be familiar with it. And it's not me trying to be super negative about the game. That's not my goal and intention. I'm trying to be critical of the game because of how much I enjoy it. And I've already mentioned before, people confuse negativity with criticism all the time. And a lot of the criticisms that I've had in the past were, for the most part, completely valid and fair. And yes, it might sound and come off on the negative side, but that's because I care about the game, and Bandai's treating the thing that I care about like they don't care. And that hurts me as a player and a content creator, because it makes it very hard for me to want to support something that Bandai very clearly doesn't care themselves. And you could kind of tell this with the negligence in card design and how terrible metas are forming more often because of broken cards and broken interactions and broken engines popping up more and more and more. And it's something like from a gameplay perspective, I just don't agree with. I don't agree with the level of uninteractivity that they currently have because the whole enjoyment aspect is a good, healthy back and forth. A little bobbing, a little bit of weaving, some removal, and like not winning the game outright off of a single combo because I set up a whole bunch of delayed options in the back and then I moved up and I killed my opponent in a single turn. Like, it's not very fun, and it's not what I enjoy out of a game. If I wanted that type of a game, I would go back to playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, where they're just not fun games to play, and the only things that really matter is like the first 1 to 2 or 3 turns. And then the game is over, and it felt very unrewarding and unsatisfying because of how the game ended. And that's partially from like the gameplay perspective why I haven't really been finding a deck or enjoying anything, is because like, what am I supposed to do? Just pick my favorite color or favorite flavor of OTK and then hope my OTK deck is faster than my opponent's OTK deck? Like, it doesn't seem very fun and enjoyable to me, and that's why I've been struggling with finding a deck recently, is because of that aspect where it's just like they have done so much damage and warped the game's design around specific ways that we're supposed to play the game in order to actually have any semblance of competitive success. And if your deck isn't following or keeping up with those particular play patterns, then you're just functionally not playing the game, and that's limiting to not only just card design, but deck design, and that limits the overall player enjoyment. And again, if you're liking this type of gameplay, I'm not trashing you for liking it, it's just I personally do not enjoy this type of gameplay at all. And the other big aspect on why I'm deciding to take a big break from content creation as a whole is going back to what I mentioned earlier. I wanted to do a big channel update for when I hit 5,000 subscribers. Well, that number was way harder to achieve than I would have reasonably thought. And yes, it could go into a lot of different factors as far as what was limiting my overall personal success on the growth of my channel. I could be uploading more. I could be doing more popular style of content. I could cut out any criticisms I have with the game and just be a blind shill for the game and say nothing but positivity, even though that's not what I personally feel. Like, there's a lot of different factors going into being a content creator, and part of why I'm stopping for right now is because of the burnout. Like, I've been doing this since basically before Digimon came into the TCG space. My first game that I was covering on my channel was Future Card Buddy Fight that ended up dying, and then Digimon filled in that gap really quickly, and Digimon being an IP I love, it was just a very easy decision for me to make as far as the direction to take my channel in. And now that Digimon is less enjoyable, I do have to find and figure out what I want to do with my channel. And I don't necessarily think the content that I would be making would be harming the game. I would still want to cover the game in the same capacity that I have been. It's just, I've reached a point where nothing I feel like I make actually matters. And if I'm not growing as a channel and nothing I'm making is reaching any kind of an audience and it's not helping people, because that's ultimately what I wanted to do with my channel, was to help people, I'm not obviously reaching that goal. It's not about the money for me. It's not about the fame. It's not about the notoriety or whatever. I just wanted to help people and get some extra insight out into the ether of the internet. And I have been failing at that, whether that's because the audience is rejecting my type of content. People obviously are not promoting my kind of content. And then I also just am a one-man show. I'm recording, scripting, editing, testing, almost everything on my own. And it's a lot for one person to do, on top of doing a 9-to-5 style job. that also has been increasing my overall workload. So, like, I've been working certain weekends, like the full weekends, so that means I can't record content on those weekends because I would be working my job when normally that would be the space and time that I would be able to do that. And because I'm working weekends, I also don't have as much time testing at locals as I normally would. And that also has been limiting my recording for locals when I finally got like an okay-ish setup to be able to do that. It's just absolutely rough and brutal and devastating. And watching as my channel basically has become stagnant over the last 3 years, and that's not mentally fun to see my numbers not go up when I put work into trying to make those numbers go up, in a sense. Like, it isn't necessarily about the numbers, but there is a psychological aspect of it. When you see numbers go up, usually your brain gets happy. And my numbers have not been going up. My numbers have basically stayed the same. It's been a very, very painfully slow growth. And because I know I'm not growing, I'm not reaching the audience that I want to for my content to try to help those that actually want or need it. So that's why I create the content the way I do and how I've been doing it. And I've been pretty vocal, or at least I feel like I've been pretty vocal with my community about how I've been making my content, asking them what I should change, what kind of content they want to see out of me that I could possibly try to do. And like, I appreciate all the feedback and help that my community has been giving me on YouTube for a while, but it's reached a point where I don't necessarily think there's anything I reasonably can do to actually grow my channel in the way that I would want, so that way my messaging can get out. And my messaging is obviously not to shit on the game. And as much as many people think that's the case, it really isn't. I'm critical of the game again because I love the game a lot. And it just pains me to see that my traction isn't growing, so I'm not reaching the audience I want. And the game is becoming less and less enjoyable because Bandai keeps making really poor decisions, both product-wise and card-wise, and it's making it that much more harder for me to want to kind of create content for the game. So I'm going to have a podcast episode that's going to be explaining more of this in detail with one of my friends who's been with me for quite a while. So if you want more information than what's in here, feel free to check it out. That podcast is a little bit more unfiltered when it comes to the messaging and some of my emotions. It's a little bit more raw. So if you want that kind of a take and you want to just listen to me ramble about like this type of stuff, then by all means check out that episode. I think, like, as far as the future of this channel, I'm just going to be putting it on ice. I'm not, like, through with making content. That's not necessarily the point. I'm going to be coming back. It's just when I'm going to be coming back and what the channel is going to look like when it comes back is to be determined. Obviously, I'm not going to be switching over to any other TCG. Digimon is my last TCG. Point blank and simple. That's how much I'm dedicated to this game, is I will not play another TCG post this. Like, in a meaningful capacity. Sure, mobile games, I don't necessarily think hardcore counts as playing another TCG. Just because I perceive them as something different. And I think that reasonably the time that I'm going to be unfreezing my channel, outside of just the random episode based on like some big bombshell that's happening, is going to be the release of the mobile app. I think my channel definitely can very easily dedicate a lot more time to doing that mobile app. And that's probably going to be the core focus of the channel when I come back, if I come back. Because if Bandai doesn't particularly fix the game in a direction that I agree with, then I might just make I'm done with it Digimon TCG video versus I'm just going on break. And yeah, it sucks. I didn't want or expect to be put into this position, but it is affecting my mental health. It is affecting my perception of the game. outside of like my own personal experiences and educational background and designer background and all that stuff. And I think it's not necessarily healthy of an outlet for what I have been doing. And I would rather just not make any content, even if it would be positive content, because it's just not going to reach people at all. And it's very sad to say. I'm just hoping that you don't necessarily unsubscribe from the channel, and hopefully when I come back, it'll be to something that you would be excited to watch. That's about the best I can possibly hope for and try to strive for. And yeah, that's going to be for the most part it. When it comes to some of my other content, because I do a weekly podcast, that's also going to be put on ice because, again, same type of deal. It's very obviously not reaching people. People don't care about my content, and it hurts a lot knowing that. It really does. I don't really know what else to do other than to stop. And it's really hard for me to say that because I like making content. I like helping people. But I know I'm failing at that. And I could keep trying, but it's not helping me mentally. And it's just taking up a lot of my time. And honestly, it just feels like a complete waste at this point because I've had years of nothing, basically. I'm not saying what I've done, what I've accomplished, and what I've strived for wasn't good. It's just the end result wasn't good enough. Like, I'm still willing if other people want me as a guest on their channels for a video or whatever. I'm still open to doing that and helping other members of the community, and I might still make community posts every now and then kind of covering some of the topics that I would make a video about, just not in a video format. So I'm still going to try to be a little bit active for the most part, but as far as regular scheduled updates and content, that's going to go away for the most part until I figure things out. And I'm just hope to see everyone when I come back. That's about the best I can hope for. It sucks, but it's something I feel like I need to do at this point. So, thank you everyone for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Later.